Alrighty, testing, 1, 2, 3. I think we are now back in the game, guys. We are back live again after a week of being away. I went ahead and went on a trip to help out a friend, take care of some moving stuff as well. Helping them move. I'm not moving. Oh no, the screen in the background is freaking out. It's good to be home again. It's good to be home again. The screen's all freaking out. Okay, guys, let's hop right on into the shin. Let's get on into this. Let's get right into the good stuff. So we're not going to be doing too much geopolitical analysis stuff today. I am ready to get back into that, but I need to just kind of ease back into it. I'm going to be reading all these weekly and monthly outlooks that are going to be coming out here over today, Friday, and the weekend. But I more or less just wanted to focus on the charts today. I just wanted to look at some trade plans and follow up on the trade plans that I made before leaving and kind of get an update. And I used this as the thumbnail for today's stream. Oh, I accidentally moved that alert. Oh well. I think I put it like there. That seems fine. Crack of the last swing high. Also, I really wish this thing would stop like freaking out. Come on. Alright, I think, yeah, you can see the blue screen, right? And then it just disappears. Isn't that kind of weird? Magic. The magic of tech. I just angled it so that maybe the light bounces off of it more correctly, you know? But everything seems to be handled. Everything seems to be good now. Okay. So let's get into it. Da, 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 da. And turn this dude down just a tad more, because we are all ready to go. And we can zoom in here, and I think it's Shift F to hide everything. Man, isn't that so cool? Okay, so we are now here in Trading View. This was the trade plan from, it looks like, the 22nd of March. That's what these timestamps are. 22nd of March. And we can go in here. Yeah, there's the timestamp, 22nd of March. So we set this up as an up move. We got that. A down move. We got that. And for the week, that turned out pretty damn good. That turned out pretty damn good, right? Boom. Got that one. And this week, we saw some continuation at the beginning, a jump, and then a continuation lower. Now, this is just for New Zealand dollar. But a lot of assets had this risk on jump. We go to the S&P. You can see around the same time we had that same jump. If we go to CL, which is crude, we had a jump in the opposite direction. And it was generally risk on, right? It was generally a risk on move. We go to euro dollar. You can see it really moved up on the euro there. I mean, we came all the way back. Actually, this is Trek. What is that? Tick mill? I want Oanda. Euro, dollar, Oanda. There we go. You can see I have my drawings here. I had a much stronger bearish expectation that did not get hit. We still moved lower, and I still had these shorts open, and we went all the way back to this entry. I'm like, you know, all these other trades, I have all these other trades open. They're doing fantastic. What's going on with the euro here? And all these assets had the same jump, right? They all had the same jump. And there's all sorts of reasons why this could have happened. But the only thing I could really nail down myself was that the president of Iran said, oh, we are going to consider ending the war if we are given particular guarantees for Iran. And I don't know exactly where that came from. I ended up finding out where it came from, and it was kind of an out of context clip. So what happened is the president of Iran said that, it got sent down the squawk chats, sent down the wire to all these traders and all these robots. And they're like, okay, boom, time to go risk on, because this guy is now talking about the end of the war. So let's go ahead and go risk on. And obviously that totally fell through. Totally fell through. It didn't go anywhere afterwards. I mean, it went somewhere, went up for a good day or two, and then it got reversed here. And then you can look at assets like Aussie. It also saw a bit of a jump. It's also held up quite well. We got a nice little short on that one too. But now let's go ahead and change our time frame to the daily and look at some assets for the week ahead. So let's look at the S&P. Check out what U.S. equity markets might be looking like here. Let's see here. Pause on all military strikes. Yeah, well, that's not necessarily happening anymore. It'll be nice to have a few more really important posts here. And you can see this is where Operation Epic Fury began, right around here. And we've just been going down, 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 down. And then we had a bit of a bump. And now for the month, we are currently trading at a peak in the ranges. This indicator here, and if we hide the drawings, this indicator here is range probabilities. It's giving us a distribution of where the tops or the bottoms for a month, a week, day come in. And right now it's saying, hey, most of the time when you find your top for the month is somewhere around here. So let's say that the top for the month for the S&P is in here. I'm going to increase these percent bounds, and it's going to say, hey, anywhere where the top comes in around this box, find similar tops throughout history and tell me where following lows have come in, given this top, and then show me where following highs have come in, given this bottom here. So if you think we're going to go higher, these would be not so unreasonable conditional highs to see, and then these would be not so unreasonable conditional lows. However, there's a lot more variation here. The spread between each one of these data points is much higher than the spread over here, and we also have a lot more data points to the upside. So I'm on the more cautious side to expect when expecting more downside, because if you do see downside, there's much higher variability. It's much greater degree of uncertainty as to where exactly the low comes in versus the high. You know, you have this nice cluster of highs right around here, especially around the third or the last week of the month. So what we really want to see, if we want to see more risk on, is effectively sideways movement and then a jump to, I don't know, call it the mid 6,700 handle, right? Mid 6,700 handle looks good there if you're a bull. And your guess is as good as mine if you're a bear. Now, I am bearish. I am risk off. I do not want to be risk on until I gotta be frank. I actually don't necessarily know exactly when to start being risk on at the moment. We have to continue to watch developments of what's going on in Iran until it becomes much, much clearer, because it's going to be over the next couple of months that we're going to be experiencing most of the economic damage that people are experiencing right now all throughout the world from the energy shortage and the energy crisis that so many people are experiencing. If I go to like a 1 hour chart here, it's just insane. Insane moves. Look at that. Boom. 15% in a single day. This is crazy. This is a lot. I mean, sure, you can use whatever tool you want, but when the volatility hits, you need to know what's going on in the world. Because tools like this, even though I have had very great success, you can clearly tell, hey, yeah, sure, it caught the likely low, but as soon as you started trading into this side of the distribution, this far into the distribution, these tail odds, because you can see how small these probabilities are. Once you start trading into the tail and everything is hands off at that point, it's like, okay, this is a tail risk. You are dealing with a really high degree of uncertainty. This is like the reverse of a falling knife, right? Just how steep this thing is. 15% move in a single day. That's kind of a big deal, right? It's huge. Just boom. 15% like that. It's crazy. Let's go to a slightly higher time frame, a 2 hour, and you can really see how crazy that big move is. 6 hour, so we can look at some weeklies, and look, it's the exact same thing on the weekly and we saw on the monthly earlier. Just ripping and roaring past the nominal place where you find your highs or your lows for a given week, and just trading in the tail of the distribution where you see very, very infrequently where you see the tops for the week come in or the bottoms for the week come in. Once you're in these tails here, you're trading like falling knife scenarios, and this is kind of the reverse of a falling knife. You know, you're reaching for the clouds. You're reaching for the clouds here. What would be the opposite of a falling knife? What is the name of that? Here, let's see here. Opposite of a falling knife. Rising rocket. Catching a rising rocket. So that seems to be a rising rocket, a breakout, and that's it. Those are the only ones. Just doing a quick little Google search. And hey, stop that. Stop that. Okay. This screen is getting all finicky on me now that I'm back, and I've had to readjust and reconfigure it and reconfigure it, get it all set up again. It'll be a stream or two till that starts behaving properly and stops giving me that little flickering behind me. Let's go ahead and check out the dollar yen. Dollar yen also saw a nice little bout here around the exact same time when that president of Iran came out and said, hey, we are considering ending the war if we get some conditions guaranteed for us. And again, that just totally reversed. Because obviously a part of those guarantees are going to be things like, we want to keep our uranium. We want to keep our enriched uranium. And you know that's not going to work out. You know, right now the U.S. is doing this massive buildup. And they're continuing their massive buildup, anticipating to go in to confiscate the uranium in Iran. At least that's what people in the know are anticipating right now. There's all sorts of research we're doing in the Discord. Oh man, even when I was away on break this entire time, it was so nice to be hanging out with a few people who are there in the research forum, helping with this stuff. Oh my god, man. This was so helpful. This research forum. And I think, yeah, there we go. So here's our chart right behind me. And then here's the research forum. Trump Watch, Fall of the Republic of Iran. Oh my, we have 1,900 posts in this thread, guys. 1,900 posts. That's kind of unbelievable. That's so much there. Look, this is an automated thread that is automatically posting things from the National Hurricane Center. So then we can get weather forecasts and whatnot for really important weather events around the United States that could maybe impact refinery capacity. Guys, if there's a big hurricane that comes through the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, right? And overwhelms or even does some damage to the oil and gas refineries in the Gulf that are in America, you know, it's already pretty tight. It's already pretty bad. But if there is some kind of big ass weather event that comes along, we want to know that that's around the corner, and we can position for that just by following these weather forecasts. and bracing ourselves for that in our portfolios and frankly in our lives as well, because there's a lot of people who get hurt a lot by those really terrible weather events. And sure, you know, they might be traders too. They might be very happy about the money that they might make from that. But man, there are some people who get hurt during those things. And just being aware of what's going on in the world helps you inform the people that you care about, your friends and your family and maybe some colleagues or whatnot. Like, hey, there's this big hurricane coming through the Gulf in America, or the Gulf in Mexico, Persian Gulf, American Gulf. I know it's officially the Gulf of America, but so many people still call it the Gulf of Mexico. So many maps still say Gulf of Mexico. I mean, if you go to Google Maps, though, it says Gulf of America. So maybe I should just say Gulf of America now, right? That's like technically the legal name for it. So if there's a massive weather event that occurs in the Gulf of America and it hits and forces some of these U.S. refineries to shut down temporarily, we want to know that is a risk a few days before this happens. And that could really significantly send CL here to 130. Like, that would be really, really bad. So when we want to be on the lookout for all sorts of different risk events, you have to have the information at your fingertips. And that's really where being in a Discord like this is particularly helpful, because this is so research focused, right? People are like, oh my God, you know, where are all the charts? Where are all the trades? I'm like, dude, we have that in a trading group. We have our trade logs thread. We do our own like special research in there if you wanted to know trades. But if you want to do the hard stuff, if you want to do the stuff that actually is going to be beneficial for everybody, no matter really what strategy you're using, you're going to want to get this kind of information. And it also makes you a lot smarter about just generally what's going on in the world. You'll be able to relate with far more different kinds of people in different places. And you'll be able to understand what they are expecting better. And my rule is, trading is about getting exposure to a change in expectations or continuation in expectations. So if we are expecting a massive military buildup in the United States, right, in this military buildup posture under United States Central Command thread, right, if we're expecting a massive buildup or maybe more refineries in Russia are blown up by Ukraine, the Russia-Ukraine war thread, or Viktor Orban is about to be visited by J.D. Vance in, I believe, April 7th, April 8th. He's going to Hungary, and they're going to upset a lot of European leaders because of this Slovakia and Ukraine oil dispute with the Friendship Pipeline. How ironic is that? It's called the Friendship Pipeline, and everyone in Europe is at throats with Orban right now because he's refusing to pass a $90 billion EU military aid bill for Ukraine because Ukraine is cutting off oil to Slovakia and Hungary, Russian oil, that is. And that is oil that they were already given permission to accept. It's not like, oh, we want to go around the EU to get this oil. No, the EU gave them permission to get that oil. And this is a whole thread about explicitly, oh, here's all these different things going on. I mean, also, did you know that the USS Ford, the carrier, right? The US carrier is now leaving Croatia and going back to Iran. So you have the Lincoln there, you have the Ford going back after repairs, and now the Bush is on its 7-day trek across the world, across the ocean to Iran. There are so many things going on in the world, and if you don't generally know what's going on with things geopolitically, these things impact markets significantly because they impact the availability of different commodities really significantly. I mean, there's also things like, hey, you have to watch out for, you know, Japan is trying to pass their fiscal budget, and then it can automatically pass later next week based off a resolution in the Constitution that says it can automatically pass. And there's a lot of issues in Japan right now with potential inflation because they were heavily dependent on oil. So they want to make sure that they pass the right budget to make sure that they can sustain themselves. So they don't have, they have as few issues as possible between their budget and being able to reinvest into getting whatever energy they need in Japan. And then, oh man, there's even this stuff here with the Aussie fuel shortage going on. And we have all the stuff, anything regarding the Iran commodities crisis. We have a whole thread on that. Every single little thing that I find is getting posted, and there's all these charts and all these articles, right? You can become very, very fluent and efficient in just knowing what's generally going on with the world and figuring out where all this information comes from so you can do it on your own just by hopping into the Discord. And the link to that Discord is in the description. You join through the WAP. And make sure to join the trading group. Make sure to join the trading group so you can get access to these indicators. Go ahead and you can do that today and start doing trade plans with us today on these things, because we're going to start doing trade plans for the week ahead and the month ahead, not just in the trading group, but here on the stream. There are some, again, my expectation right now is down, kind of across the board. I still think that the US dollar is going to continue to get stronger. I think we're going to just see a straight up continuation of exactly what we've been getting so far. Say, stop that. Stop that. It's freaking out again. Oh, man. I don't know. Is that good? Is it going to chill out now? Yeah. I think the sun is moving and it's doing some weird stuff to my background. Anyways. We're going to do some trade plans here, but the trade plans are very, very straightforward. My expectation is for more downside. Very, very straightforward. 2026-04, and we are, the 3rd, and the time is 14:20, 21. And we'll go ahead and copy that. So that would be my expectation. This is about 134 pips lower over a 9-day period. We can go ahead and use some timing dots to set a little bit maybe better of expectation, but there's not that many dots here. So we're going to probably have to bump this up a little bit. Yeah, still not that many. There's more dots way down here. And actually that lines up with another peak. You can see how it goes from green to a really bright gray, and then to a darker, more opaque, more transparent gray. And then it jumps up a bit. That's because these odds start at 7% and they start going down to 4, 3, 2, and then they start going up. 2.4, 2.3, 2.4, 2.6, 2.6, and then they go back down 2.2 to 1.8, right? So there's a bit of a bump in odds around here. That gets identified, and you can even see that in the dots where there's a nice little cluster of dots. So it might just be straight down. And New Zealand is also, this is Aussie dollar, right? Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar are both particularly vulnerable to energy prices at the moment. It's not so great. It's not so great what's going on for them at the moment. The sooner the Strait of Hormuz can get cleared up and put under control, the better. The easier things will be for, frankly, the rest of the world. The rest of the world will be so easy. I'm in the United States. Things are actually pretty straightforward here. And this is... Come on. Stop freaking out. Okay. The rest of the world is not doing so hot as far as energy goes, because they get a lot of their energy from these Middle Eastern countries. And I feel very, very lucky. Oh my God, stop that. Please stop it. Please. It looks so ugly when it does. Yeah, see when it does that? Doesn't that look ugly as sin? Anyways, I feel very, very grateful to be here in the United States, because while energy prices are going up and while I paid $5 for a fucking chocolate bar. $5 for a Hershey's almond chocolate bar. I remember as a kid getting the exact same thing for like $1.50. for like $1.50. Maybe it was $2 or some shit. But prices are just absolutely asinine and insane. I do not like it. I do not like it, right? It's not good, generally, to see that. So we want to get the economy rolling again. We want to see things go down in price. We want to see energy prices freaking fall through the floor. That's what we want. And hopefully, after Operation Epic Fury is over, after we get there, after the United States goes in, gets the uranium, and gets the hell out, then things will be better. Energy-wise, when the rest of the world, when NATO decides, okay, we can go in now, the U.S. is done with their operation, we can go in and secure the strait. Hopefully they don't do anything stupid like make a deal with the Islamic Republic about, oh, we're going to go ahead and make a deal to secure the strait with Iran, with the Islamic Republic. No, to get rid of the Islamic Republic. They do not need to be around anymore. Do not make, I sure as hell hope NATO does not make any deals with the Islamic Republic to allow people to go through the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. It's technically international waters. Those deals do not really need to be there, even in the first place. We already have laws for international waters. So hopefully there's a new government. I wouldn't mind if Pahlavi went in and became the transitional leader there. I actually just watched an Iranian who lived in Iran up until about 2 years ago get interviewed on Razorfist's channel. Watch him all. Love the guy. But that was quite interesting to watch. They do a lot more. You know, I knew they did a lot of evil shit. I knew they did. But man, they do a lot more evil shit than I thought they did originally. So they gotta go. And the sooner they go, the better the world will be. And also the more stable economically the world will be. Just very straightforwardly. Let's go ahead and look at the next asset here. So these are the three assets. It's Aussie dollar, Euro dollar, New Zealand dollar that I have trades on. You can kind of see these things going on here. I think I need to do this. Am I in the right spot here? Yeah. Euro USD. Yeah, my trade little drawings are not syncing in the whole layout here. So if I go back, yeah, see, now it's there again. So I gotta actually make sure those NCD, USD, that these drawings here are synced by default. Yeah, they're synced by layout by default. Okay, so Euro dollar. And I believe that's what this does, right? Yeah, new drawings are sync and layout. Sweet. So this one's also pretty straightforward. Actually, it's more like down here that I'm expecting Euro dollar. Euro dollar has held up much more strongly than all of these other assets against the dollar. Really, really strongly. I mean, by 50 to 100 pips, much more strong. But I'm still going to be setting bearish negative expectations for the euro because guess what? They're not alone in getting hit by all these negative economic impacts due to the Iranian commodities crisis here. Which we're researching in the Discord, which we're following up with stuff, which we are tracking the latest news and X posts on. So make sure you get into the Discord and you join the trade group so you can get access to these indicators and contribute on some trade plans with us and learn to help set some good expectations, some good trading expectations. Okay, so those are the first few there. I actually want to check out NQ here because I know there's a lot of guys who watch me that trade the NQ, and man, isn't that just absolutely insane? We have not seen moves like this pretty much ever. This is a huge rebound, and I know a lot of guys trading NQ that got totally sidelined by this because guess what? They weren't watching the damn squawk. They weren't watching the wire, And they didn't understand that when the president of Iran said what he said, that it meant, oh, time to do a little bit of risk off, or to think through like what I was thinking through. Oh, I'm going to get another opportunity to go short again. Oh, man, yeah. Where people who were short all the way up into here, seeing the news, can then go ahead and take another shot around here. I am pretty certain that there are guys who are already on top of it and already have those expectations. And also there was all this stuff going on with these AI companies, with OpenAI kind of backpedaling on his letters of intent to actually buy a bunch of DRAM, and also this not necessarily hack, but this leak that happened with Anthropic. There are all these really big AI companies that had some pretty bad things happen. Now we have to actually see if it impacts their bottom line. Now, with the OpenAI thing, I think that's a little bit more clear cut. That's not so great to see. But I'll just right out the gate say, I need more information. I need a lot more information. I need to know what letters of intent and what is the size of the infrastructure that's been culled. What are the deals and the size of those deals that were culled and thrown out, right? Because I get they were letters of intent, not really quote unquote deals. But there was a lot of investment in the infrastructure by these chip companies that they went forward on based on those letters of intent. And I'm actually still incredibly skeptical that they would have done that just on letters of intent alone. I'm incredibly skeptical that those companies would have actually done that just on letters of intent alone. Hello, Ani. Nice to see you. The boss, Joe Boss, is back. Welcome back. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry. Everything's all well and good. Streams are coming back. Things are going to be regular again. Oh, and I mean, shit, you're here. Maybe I should go over some crypto. I know you're not like the crypto only person, but when I see you, I'm like, oh, you know, we talk a lot of crypto stuff. So I'm actually now pretty curious what's going on with the Bitcoin. Yeah, it had the exact same rise. It had the exact same rise when the president of Iran spoke. All these assets went risk on when the president of Iran spoke. Again, I'm hammering that because that's what I think. It was the only thing in the squawk that I saw was straightforward. I am certain that maybe there could have been other factors there, but there was pretty much just that. And it got plastered all over Bloomberg and all over Reuters when after that came down the wire. It was a pretty big story just for that day, and everyone seems to have kind of missed it here. A vocal cord. It did. Yes. I see you. But what's interesting is kind of the volatility in Bitcoin is not so crazy in the last week, right? Things have been pretty chill, and it's been holding 66. It's been holding in this middle of the 60 range. I am still skeptical if my expectation was that these prices were going to be held around here for a long time, enough to the point where some miners finally actually go out of business. Because my huge theory for a lot of crypto investment is that there are all these miners that are suddenly unable to get the latest and the greatest mining hardware for proof of work coins. And, you know, there are some proof of stake coins that do like a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake thing. But all these algorithms and coins that require proof of work, in order to get the best and the greatest and the latest miners, so then you can be the most profitable and expand the hash rate and get the most reward out of the block, man, it's expensive. Because now you're competing. All those miners who are building all those pieces of hardware are competing with all these AI companies to get access to that DRAM, to get access to that hardware. And they're not able to. I mean, you can pay an arm and a leg for it. And the people who really want to be on the cutting edge and are able to pull down some kind of line of credit to get that mining hardware are absolutely going to do that. So then they can continue to pummel their competition out of the space to bring their margins down as low as they possibly can. But guess what? Margins in the mining space are still incredibly freaking high because electricity in some of these places where some of these miners are, they don't care that they're running 5-10-year-old hardware. They're just very, very happy to be getting some mining reward because their electricity practically costs them nothing for some of these people. It's like government subsidized or something. They had a huge crypto mining operation actually in Tehran, in Iran, and they were using Bitcoin to circumvent some sanctions. And now that whole thing shut down. I brought that up way back over here as, hey, when you see that, actually it was literally right here. That's it. That was the quote-unquote negative impact of the miners in Iran getting turned off, is this little thing right here, and then it rallied back up. That was the extent of it, because right here, this was Operation Epic Fury. February, right there, February 28th. Right here, this was Operation Epic Fury. Not a huge impact on Bitcoin. Not a huge impact on Bitcoin. Let's see here. I can go ahead and bring up, I have some new things here. I have an expanded equities index because now I have all these different equity indices for all these different places in the world. We have the DAX here. So this is the German equity index. Topics. This is like the Dow, I think, of Japan. Kospi, South Korea, right? This is South Korea's equity index. But we're not going to go too deep into those equity indices. Then we have U.S. equity sectors. We're going to start going over these things. And you can see a lot of stuff actually started rebounding. A lot of stuff, though, hasn't been doing well even since the beginning of February. Yeah, this is, let's see here. State Street Communication Services fell like a rock. This is energy. And you can see just since the start of the year, the energy sector has been doing phenomenally. It's up like 40%, and it's only dropped here recently. And then IBB, this is biotech. Biotech got hit, and it's recovered a bit. A lot of stuff recovering in the last couple of days here. XLB, this is materials. Materials have actually done pretty well here. Let's see here. Anything else? Oh, wow. What's this? Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity actually has held up quite robustly to Operation Epic Fury. That's interesting. And then Hero. This is actually a video game ETF, so that's the sector for video games, and they have not been doing so well since the beginning of the year. What happened here? What happened here? There was a 14% drop just in the first couple days of the year. What happened to video games, man? It's down 27%. I mean, it's actually, I don't know. Let's see. Let's go back really further in history. It looks a bit more cyclic. So, who knows? Maybe GTA 6 saves this. GTA 6 will save the Hero video games and esports ETF. Yeah. Tech software sector. Expanded tech software sector doing A-okay. Bots. This is the AI and robotics section. And you can see this thing has just fallen off a damn cliff since Operation Epic Fury began. Because so much of the supply chain for AI is getting obstructed due to the commodities crisis now. And it's a lot of prices are inflated. A lot of supply is missing. Man, it's going to take a while for a lot of businesses to recover. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more businesses kind of go under or consolidate over the next year. It's going to I think it's going to be a good year for M&A people. I think M&A people are going to take advantage of the commodities crisis and say, well, you know, both your companies alone would probably not survive this, but if you guys join forces, you both will survive, and give me a cut and I will structure it for you. All the M&A guys are going to do just fine, I think, this year. GTA 6 at this point might bring aliens here. Oh my god. I need more GTA 6 memes in my life, man. I just come from a guy who the last GTA I played was GTA 4. I did not play GTA 5 that much. I played it for like a few hours, and I'm like, okay. I just wasn't totally in love with GTA 5. But man, GTA 5 is one of the most popular games of all time. Man, I still have so many friends who are still playing that game constantly, who have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in that game. And then I look at my friends who play Counter-Strike Source, or Counter-Strike 2, rather. Counter-Strike 2. Source, I'm so dated. Counter-Strike Source. That's how you know I'm getting old. CS2. And you look at it, and at least their play hours from CSGO carried over. And they're also like 10. Some dudes on my friends says like tens of thousands of hours. It's insane. Let's see here. Consumer discretionary. Consumer discretionary has been getting hit especially hard all the way since the beginning of the year, man. That's pretty bad. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if consumer discretionary continued to have issues due to supply chain disruptions. And then what's this? Transportation? Transportation going up. Oh, because people are increasing the fares. Yeah, but I don't necessarily know if that's going to increase the profitability of transportation. I mean, sure, maybe public transportation, maybe. I don't know, man. When the price of all these goods and services around the world just go boom and jump up, it's going to be horrendous for a lot of consumer spending, and especially for transportation, right? It's going to be absolutely insane. And now we're just doing a little bit of a loop there, right? Okay, so let's see here. Let's actually go by percent change, see what's doing well. ADA actually is doing A-okay. Litecoin, yeah, everything's sideways. Everything is sideways, and this thing is freaking out again behind me. But yeah, everything is sideways. Everything is sideways. Dude, go away. Go away. Go away. Oh, man. Come on. Come on, right? Come on. The luck I have of green screens. I don't know. I gotta like kajigger the thing. I gotta kajigger the thing and figure out what's causing it to be so moody. Maybe it needs some chocolate. maybe it needs to be treated right. Okay, it is freaking out hardcore now. Maybe what I need to do is get like a really strong blackout curtain, because apparently this blackout curtain on this window over here across from me is not black enough to actually hide all the light that's refracting and bouncing off for me to get a clean green screen effect. I think that's what's going on here. But yeah, all the crypto stuff is not doing so well. It's just all sideways as shit. And I also put coin and IBIT in here and master in here. It's all sideways, man. It is all sideways and not doing that much. Okay, I got it to like freak out a little less, but I don't know. I think that's a bit better. Yeah, and then the light comes in and it bounces off this. I don't kind of don't get. Again, the sun moved and the sun is changing the amount of light that's hitting the screen. Yeah. Because this is actually a really flat. This is a considerably flat setup here, but it looks ugly, and hopefully I'll be fixing it here because I have a solution for how to make the light not bounce off and look like shit here. Sorry for the little technical difficulties with the green screen and whatnot getting in the way of the damn charts. Yeah, Monero not doing so well today. All right, let's see here. Commodities, WTI. 13% today. This is hard to look at. This is hard to look at. That is going to directly hurt inflation. That's directly going to make things go, sky fucking high. It's not good. It's really not good. And then let's see, this is the Bloomberg Commodities Index. It's also going to new highs. This thing's going to keep going even higher. This Bloomberg Commodities Index, it's just going to keep ripping and a-roaring. It's going to go to 150, man. It's going to keep booming higher and higher. And this is urea. This is fertilizer. It can make food more expensive by going this high, and it still hasn't really gone down that much. Wheat, not so great. Not so great with wheat. Natural gas has actually held up. Is this the TTF? Let's see here, TTF. No, it's not TTF. TTF is still high as shit right now. I mean, at least it's not going... At least it didn't do 13% like oil did today. At least it didn't do 13%. Oh, man. I mean, it's nice to get caught up on all this stuff. It's very, very nice to be getting caught up on all this stuff. I look forward to doing the next handful of streams. We'll definitely be setting some expectations going forward here. I just want to hang out in the Discord now because I'm pretty sure I kind of covered exactly what I wanted to go over, which was, hey, I am still dollar bullish. I am still thinking oil is going to rise higher. I think once the economic indicators that come out over the next couple of months print, it's going to look really, really bad. It's not going to be pretty. And it's going to accelerate the trend and the momentum of the terrible trend that many, many markets have been experiencing so far. And it's going to continue until there is proper regime change in Iran, until the Islamic Republic is no more, until the Strait of Hormuz and Persian Gulf have free travel again. And there's no more uranium in Iran, because now that's a major, major condition for the United States. They're still building up military forces outside of Iran. They're still sending tens of thousands of military units there. They're still they're sending a third carrier. It's a big operation that's continuing in Iran, and it's going to continue really until the mission is complete. And that it's not going to take a couple of weeks. I was sincerely hoping that Iran, they would get hit and then they would surrender. And they didn't do that. So now they're kind of forcing the rest of the world, and especially the United States, to go in. And I would be much happier if NATO just got involved much, much faster, because there is a massive economic ramification for not getting involved. Huge, huge ramifications. It's really, I really wish they got involved, because now we're going to be seeing oil and so many assets at prices that they really did not need to ever be at. They really did not need to be at these prices. Now, some people will say, oh, well, you know what? The prices never needed to go this high because the United States never needed to follow Israel into Iran. And I just tell those people, shut the fuck up. We didn't go into Iran because of Israel. We went into Iran because they were killing tens of thousands of people. And then every European nation in the world condemned them. And then when we did this massive buildup for a month throughout February, preparing to go in, the Europeans, after doing this incredibly strong condemnation of all the massacres in Iran, of all these students, tens of thousands of them, they just said, no, we're not going to go in, even though we condemned them so hard. And now the U.S. is like, okay, well then I guess we're just going to do a half job. We're going to go in, we're going to get the uranium, and then we'll leave it to you guys to do the strait, to secure the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. You guys can figure that out. Now, it would just be so much easier if NATO got involved to help get this done, because it's definitely in so many people's best interests to get this done over with. Hell, it's even Ukraine understood how important this was, and they sent a bunch of drone specialists to all these Middle Eastern countries, because even Ukraine understood that the longer that the conflict in the Middle East goes on, the longer there's going to be a diversion of resources away from the war in Ukraine. So they need, and also a bunch of commodity resources that they need for their war efforts. And so they immediately saw the issue, and they immediately started giving support to all the Middle Eastern countries. Now, I didn't want to go too into the geopolitical stuff, but it's like, I really wish that the Islamic Republic, just surrendered in the first couple of weeks and agreed to regime change. But they're fanatics, and they're not going to give up. Literally until their dying breath. They are not going to give up. So the U.S. is going to go in. We're going to get their uranium. That's the goalpost has been moved now. Originally, it was, okay, there were all these student protesters, tens of thousands of them that were killed. We're going to ask in our negotiations for them to hand over their uranium. No uranium enrichment, none at all. And for a transition to a democratic government, a liberal government. And they said no during February, and so we built up the military around them. We did this huge transfer of all these forces over there. And a bunch of countries in Europe said, no, you can't use our airfields. You can't use our airfields because you're going into Iran, and we don't want to be involved in Iran. Even though those same leaders condemned the killing of all these people, which is the entire reason why we're there in the first place. Because guess what? If Iran never killed those people, if Iran never did those attacks, we wouldn't be there. The United States wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be getting bombed to hell right now. None of this would have happened if they did not kill those people. That was the pivot. That was the pivot point in history. They started killing all those people, and if they didn't kill all those people, we wouldn't be there right now. And again, I just wish that they had surrendered. It would have been nice and easy. A bombing campaign that would have been very, very nice to see that, just totally conclude a war. But these are extremists. And so the U.S. is now going in, and we're going to get rid of all the uranium. And we are going to kind of, I don't know if there will actually be a proper regime change or not. If the U.S. goes in and kills a few more high officials, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But enough of them are dead where you can probably justify already getting a regime change in there. But it's still going to be incredibly violent. A regime change, as long as the Islamic Republic itself, the IRGC, does not have any kind of formal declaration of surrender, it's going to be a very, very violent, forceful transition pushed upon them. And so I don't know if the U.S. is going to be involved in the transitory government, but as far as I know, the goalpost has now been moved from, okay, we want you to surrender with a bombing campaign, and now we're just going to go in, take the uranium ourselves. And there are U.S. reserved forces that are getting messages saying, get your affairs in order. Get your affairs in order. Prepare. It's essentially another way, a nicer way of saying prepare to die, right? Make sure everything in your life is ready in case when we ship you out there, you get killed. So reservists in the U.S. are being sent these letters saying, hey, you might be called upon to serve your country, get your affairs in order. You might die when we send you over there. So the U.S. is absolutely gearing up to go in. And oh God, it is as simple as they go in, they get that uranium, and they leave. And then whatever comes next with the transitory government, I hope that the U.S. is still applying pressure to get a transitory government set up, but it doesn't need to be a whole occupation. We don't need an occupation. The United States citizens, a lot of people are not interested in an occupation, especially without NATO. If the United States might be more open to occupying Iran if NATO was open to it as a form of preparing for a transitory government. And if those were the conditions and we could get that done in a couple of years, fine, okay. But who knows if it's a couple of years? It could be many, many years. The thing that has me particularly concerned is JD Vance said, we don't want the Islamic Republic popping up in another couple of years. And my interpretation of that is the U.S. is going to do whatever they need to in order to prevent the Islamic Republic from popping up in another couple of years. And if that means occupation of Iran, which I sure as hell hope it doesn't, because that is going to really hurt the odds of the Republicans winning in midterms. Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of support in the GOP and on the Republican side for this war. But if it continues on, like, for, I don't know, going into, like, September, there's going to be so much still going on economically as ramifications from this commodities crisis that people are going to counter-signal and not vote along the lines, or you're just going to have massive lower turnout. So there's a lot of risks politically in the United States for staying involved, and also for the United States not being involved enough for the people of Iran and for the commodity security, for eventually setting up whatever security corridor needs to be set up with Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. I mean, man, I just really hope everything goes as smoothly as possible when the next step of this operation begins. Because the next step is the U.S. goes in and boots are going to be put on the ground. And I wasn't hoping that would happen. And I really, really hope that if we do go in, we go in there with a purpose to get the uranium and we get the fuck out of there. And then we just use political force. And, you know, if the Islamic Republic starts killing more protesters, if they start killing more of their opposition who want to set up this transitory government, it's going to necessitate another boots on the ground scenario there, which is just insane. That's what you have to, again, these guys are radicals. They're extremists. It would be great if these people just stopped and they wanted to try things peacefully. But once you hear what they do to women and children and gays and their political opponents, how they lock them up under house arrest for decades and decades, it's just, not the greatest people you want to be considering negotiations with. Not the most ethical people in the world. I mean, you should have seen the ratio the president of Iran got when he made a post of a 4-page letter he sent to every American. He addressed to every American citizen. You should have seen the ratio. Literally, people taking clips of what he posted, saying, "We always wanted to be friends of America. We always wanted to be friends of America," and then underneath that is a clip of the same guy who wrote that, the president of Iran, leading a chant in the Iranian parliament shouting "death to America." It's a lot different than what Pahlavi, right, the prince, is saying at CPAC, where he's like, we don't want an Iran that screams "death to America." We want an Iran that yells "God bless America," right? It's just a totally different, way more peaceful worldview that guy's got than the people who currently running Iran have got. I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to when all this is over and the world economically recovers and all those people who have been unjustly oppressed by the Islamic Republic get the liberated government that they really deserve, and hopefully as soon as possible. And this is a trading show. A lot of people are like, what's this got to do with trade? Well, you know what? The sooner that happens, the sooner this chart goes back down. The sooner this thing stops going from 120, there's other crude charts. There's other oil charts that are like at 130, 150, 180. And these are insane prices that make it impossible for a lot of businesses to do their business. And once this is over and we have commodity normalization, so many people, literally billions of people, are being impacted by this. And it's creating a huge economic hardship for a lot of people. A lot of people. There are empty petrol stations all around the world, just no gas, because of what's going on with these people. And as soon as it's over, we will start seeing normalization, and people's lives won't be here. Because you know what? There are a lot of people who run into emergencies where they have to decide, okay, do we get gasoline for our car, or do we afford food? And sometimes you need to have gas in your car because you have maybe someone in your family that needs a medical emergency, right? So if you go without the car, you're putting their life at risk just because you want some food. And if you don't get enough food, you're going to be hungry and starving and not maybe thinking your best. So then when you are doing your job, you're doing a worse job. There's a lot of terrible ramifications that really come from this. And as soon as it's over, and as soon as this chart goes down, as soon as we get that information that this is over, this chart goes down, we want to be positioned for that. We want to be ready for that. So I really look forward to when there's some better news on the horizon. Some much, much better news on the horizon. I really, really do. Now that I'm done with my rant, with the shitty green screen. Well, it's technically a blue screen, right? Now that I'm done with my rant with the shitty blue screen behind me, I'll fix it. Don't worry, I'll fix it for the next stream. But I'll just say thank you guys for listening to this little rant here at the latter half of the stream. The first half of the stream was very much focused on assets, going over these different assets. And now, again, I've been away for like a week. I've had like all this new analysis and whatnot bubbling up on the geopolitical side. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can fit this in, even though I said I probably am not going to talk geopolitics this stream. But you know what? It's very important not just to get this, my point of view. I really, really follow a lot. Every single political party I can follow, I try and follow. Whether that's the literal communists in France or the Antifa guys here in the United States, I try and understand what it is they're saying, what it is they want, and how they're expressing that in the different governments that they're in. It's very important to know, in case they do come to power, what their perspectives are, what kind of policies they want to push, so that then you understand how markets are going to react in anticipation of those government policies being enacted or not. It's very important. The more you learn about the world, the better at trading you get. So do not discount just because I have one particular worldview of how I see, like, let's say what's going on in Iran, that I'm not going to be closed-minded and not listen to what other people say. It's just I'm going to be looking through it through the perspective of, you know, as an American, as a Republican, and as someone who's also looking at through the lens of, okay, how are markets going to take this? How are markets going to change based on this new information? And look, it's all well and good to be biased. It's not okay to hide your bias, right? Like, it's one thing if I, you know, very clear, like, wear, you know, my heart on my sleeve with the things that I'm saying. And it's another thing if I'm like, well, you're not a good person if you don't believe the things that I believe. Like, that's very duplicitous. It's very wrong. It's very unethical. So I go out of my way to just try and get as much of. There's actually a lot of people I really personally don't like, but I follow for their geopolitical analysis because I need to know what these people are thinking in order to get a proper, broad distribution of views to actually understand what's going on in the world, to actually understand how people are interpreting things. Because guess what? These people who I might disagree with on worldview discussions, they have a lot of money, and a lot of these guys have a lot more money than I do. So it's important to know what they're doing, what they're thinking, and how they're going to express those worldviews in markets, so that then I can trade around them and I don't lose money, and I can potentially make money based off of relating to how they view the world. Just because I relate and understand competently what they're doing in order to make my own autonomous trading decisions doesn't necessarily mean I have to accept their worldview or they have to accept mine, right? So that's functionally how I'm approaching things on the stream. So I'm never going to be shutting down, you know, even as much as I might not like the communists, a communist. I'm not going to shut down a communist who comes in and tries to say, well, what about this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing? And, well, we can have those discussions, but I don't know if you want me to have those discussions in your Discord. Yeah, there are some very, very weird speech laws in or speaking rules in some of these communist discords. You'd be surprised at the places that I'm in, the different Discord servers that I'm in. You'd be very, very surprised. Like, really, the Republican is in these Discord servers? Like, yeah, because I kind of want to know more about the world and what's going on. And I want to actually understand and relate with what other people are thinking, even if they're not of my point of view. So then, even if I disagree with them, I can eloquently understand and duplicate back to them their own worldview, so then I can adequately have a proper discussion with people and determine whether or not they're like actually crazy, or maybe we actually agree on a couple of things. You know, I think it's a very important thing to do when you get this involved into trading sometimes. And again, a lot of people would say, you know, you don't really need to do all that stuff. And I agree to an extent, but I find getting a wide range of views and relating with what different worldviews are expecting of, you could say, different geopolitical events to occur, how those impact expectations and the biases of different analysts. Like, we're getting all these weekly and monthly outlooks that get released over the next few days here. Some of those people are straight up hardcore, very, very socialists. They're like no private property type of guys, yet they're financial analysts. They are, and maybe they're more of a democratic socialists or social democrat types. But it's good to understand what their worldview is, so then you can understand how they generate their expectations. So then if you know something a little different, you're not just accepting their worldview and their expectation right there at face value. Like, you want to see hard data, you want to see forecasts, and it lets you really deconstruct expectations much more thoroughly and logically. And it does help with picking the best of the best expectations, the people who are sometimes the most consistent in setting expectations. I mean, I've just been stuck here on this oil chart with the shitty green screen behind me, bro. I'm ready to move on to hanging out in my Discord, Plan to Profit Discord. I'm going to probably do read through some outlooks, prepare for getting some outlooks read and making some notes on those outlooks tomorrow, and just kind of relaxing tonight. So I really look forward to just kind of hanging out in the Discord. And now finally being back after a long week and a long rant, all ready to kind of start things off. Blue dabu dee dabu da. Yeah. I know it took me a while to get to reading that one, Annie, but oh man, I am all set. I am all good. You can really see how kind of screwed this green screen is. Alrighty. Well, I'll see you guys in bed. I'll see you guys in the next stream. The next stream will be announced very, very shortly. And other than that, we'll be going over notes. We'll be going over outlooks. We'll be going over research all over in the Discord, all over in the trading group. And I will see you guys in a bit.